you got to stay. You got to stay in your zone.
Good evening, wise owls. Oh, I'm sorry, most of my wise owls have gone to play in the separate section. Good evening, wise owl parents. Good evening. I know that some of us are still coming in. However, I just wanted to make the declaration that if you would like for this to be a child-friendly or child-free time for you, you can take advantage of our lovely care service that we have next door. Our Hampton teachers are watching them, playing games with them, so if they would like to go over there instead of sitting in here, they can do that. That way you can listen and you can have that hour free to kind of do what you do. But we're going to get started. I really appreciate everybody coming in for curriculum night. It doesn't sound like a very fun evening when you hear curriculum night. It's kind of like, go to sleep. Curriculum, fun. And it is going to be an information session so that you guys are really aware of what you're getting ready to get, which is your child's first report card. The report card looks a whole lot different this year. I know parents have said in the past that they have gotten, 12-page report cards. It is no more. So we're going to make the report card tonight very simple for you to understand, and I think people will be pleased. After this, it is not my intention for you to fall in love with standards-based grading. That is not, I'm hoping that you don't leave here going, if her point was to make us like standards-based grading, she did not do a good job. That is not the point of tonight. The point of tonight is so that you understand kind of what it is, and then so that you walk away with knowledge about how to understand that report card, and so that you understand how to better help your child at home when they come home with those report cards and what you can do. So the next thing I just want to say, if you're not on my newsletter, that is the link. So if you need to take a picture of it before we move forward, you can. On the newsletter, I try to send that out every month, maybe, so that you're well aware of what's going on. It gives you those events in advance, and also gives you just some things that are going on in the school, has pictures on it, things like that. You can sign up here, and also any questions that you have tonight, we have that big block of paper in the middle of your table. If you could get a recorder, kind of write down those questions. The answers to those questions are going to be listed in my next newsletter. So that when you say, hey, I wanted to ask this man this, absolutely, we're going to answer those questions. We just want to make sure that if it's for the good of the group, I can answer them as a whole. And put them in the newsletter so that way everybody's kind of clear on what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. I like to move around a lot, but I've been told that I must stand right here because we are streaming it and taping it for parents that can't be here. And also, we're trying to make sure that we are, in case someone didn't understand something or needs to go back, we'll have it here. So that's one thing we're trying to do to make this tech forward. We're trying to be more modern. So I'm going to try not to move too much, but it's in my nature to move when I walk. So, standards-based teaching and learning. If you have been with Johnston County for the last couple of years, you probably know that students are not in elementary school receiving what was standard back maybe when we were in elementary school, which is an A, a B, C, D, and F, which we don't talk about. We don't talk about that in my house. However, we do still we have grades, so we're not taking away grades. It's just not how it was. And when I was talking to my mom the other day, she's like, well, so it's kind of like when I was in school, I used to get an S. And I said, sure, Mom. So that's about right. Except for we might have been talking about at that time maybe your conduct, maybe an S for satisfactory, but we're more focused on the mastery of a standard. That's basically what standards-based grading is. How well your student is able to master that particular standard. So when we're looking at the standards, we do need to realize that this is a scale that we're looking at. We're not just looking at, oh, my child gets an A. Well, when you hear that, you're probably thinking in your mind, an A means, oh wow, they made an A. But what does that really mean? An A could mean that it could be, especially in high school, it could be an A minus, it could be a 90. You're not sure what that means when you get home. You're just like, oh, my child got an A. But our mindset does have to shift a little bit in understanding that when we see an M, that means that, actually, I'll get into that later because that might be too much right now. Okay, but we're looking for standards-based grading is going to identify the goal for you as a parent, the student, and as the teacher. It identifies that goal and it lets you know how that child is doing based on a specific goal. Okay, so we're not just saying your child receives an A. No, we're saying your child is mastering reading complex text. That's what your child is mastering, okay? Or your child is progressing towards that. So we're not just giving A's, B's, and C's. We're actually getting specific in on those standards so that you know at home what your child is doing at school. It ensures that instruction and assessment is based on the curriculum and on a child's individual achievements and goals. So your child isn't, being competitive with one that is sitting next to her. They're being competitive with themselves, saying, I want to master this goal by the end of the year. We're not really competing with others, we're competing with ourselves. And also, it says here, a student's growth and achievement is measured individually rather than comparing their performance with their peers, which is a very important piece that we're focused on this year for our school. Really quickly, we're going to look at the superintendent's message. It's about 3 minutes long. However, it kind of gives you an understanding of where we're going with the district, because that could be a question that a lot of parents are wondering. Where are we going with this? Are we just going to be doing this for the next 2 years and it is going to be done? Where are we going with this? I think this video really gives you an idea of where we're going, but also explains what we've been doing in order to get to this point.
Hey everybody, Ross Renfro here. The theme for the year is as we unveil Phase 3 of JOCO 2020, each student counts and every moment matters. There's a finite amount of time in every school year. There's a finite amount of time in each student's public school career. Why each student counts, every moment matters, is Phase 3 of JOCO 2020. We assume that everybody's been here for the last 3 years, but for those new teammates, Phase 1 a couple of years ago, we talked about the importance of relationships, relevance, and innovation in the classroom. Last year, if you remember, we spent time with our teachers in Phase 2, and we talked about mindset. Folks who have a fixed or closed mindset, but in Johnston County Public Schools, we like folks to have a growth mindset and even an innovative mindset. And so this year it's Phase 3, and it focuses on the student. Each student counts, every moment matters. And so as we look at Phase 3 this year, how are we going to build those tenets of JOCO 2020? Relationships, relevance, and innovation. We think about the 3 most important words of public education: relationships, relationships, relationships. We have to have that foundation starting on the first day of school. So as we segue from Phase 3 of JOCO 2020, we want to head into our personalized learning framework that really digs deeper into JOCO 2020 Phase 3. We start looking at what motivates and what makes our students do the things that they do. Hopefully you've been exposed to things like a learner profile, but we look at instruction and assessment and the student, and all these things go into personalized competency-based education. We take that personalized learner framework, and then it evolves into our portrait of a graduate. Take time to look at the diagram and everything that our community, because the portrait of a graduate kitchen table discussions, where we meet with parents, community members, teacher leaders, student leaders, to talk about what public education should look like and what our graduates should have when they leave us. So we'll spend a great deal of time this year focusing on those characteristics of a Johnston County Public School student and what they should have when they leave us. So then, as we tie all this together this morning, I think about we're focusing on our students, but when we focus on our students, we've got to focus on our teachers as well. I have a vested interest in what you do each and every day, and so hopefully you have seen the PCBE roadmap. I call it a PCBE roadmap, but really it's professional development at its best, because if we expect learning to be personalized for our students, then the roadmap we talk about for professional development, it should be personalized for our faculty and staff as well. Thank you all for all you do, and have a great 2018-2019 school year. Each student counts. Every moment matters.
All right, so that was Dr. Renfro. He couldn't be here tonight, but we just saw him. Isn't that great? I just love videos. But anyway, that was Dr. Renfro basically talking about standards-based teaching and learning, where we're going in the county, and why we're actually doing this. So I think it was just important to hear from him so that he can kind of give you what he's thinking, and then we can talk about what we're doing at our school in order to support that vision from the superintendent. So I know that you probably have been through our website with a fine-tooth comb, and you have looked at our school improvement plan. Okay, but either way, our school improvement plan is online, so you can see how we are trying to address deficits that some of our students may have, and also how we can address our staff members, staff development, and the learning of our students. So it talks about that, and that is on our website. But one part of the school improvement plan that is targeted on standards-based teaching and learning is our learner profile. So some of your students may have come home and said they did a learner profile. Some of our kindergartners may not have known that they did a learner profile, but they did. Learner profile really just hones in on what students like to do, number one, and how they learn best. So they might have gotten some questions where they were asked, hey, do you think that you learn best sitting at a desk? Or do you like to sit on the floor with a comfy little chair or a pillow? Most of our kindergartens pick company chair and pillow. But some people learn best sitting at a desk, or some people learn best when they are able to lay on the floor and write things out. We're really trying to change how we're teaching in order to address the students' needs. So that's one thing that we're doing in our building. And also, our teachers are engaged in professional learning communities. So they are each week they go with the person I'm going to introduce in just a minute, who is our teaching and learning coach. They get together and they look at those standards that they have, and they try to figure out how best to address those standards in the classroom. So that is every week they're actually working on that. For an hour at a time, just sitting there looking at the standards and saying, well, how can we best address these standards, and how can our kids benefit from the lessons that we're doing each day in class? So next, I'm going to introduce Miss Bess. Miss Bess is our teaching and learning coach, and I didn't introduce myself, I'm sorry. I'm Miss Mangum. Hey, I'm the principal here. Sorry, I thought I introduced myself in the beginning. I did not. I'm Miss Mangum. This is Miss Bess, and Miss Bess is our teaching and learning coach. She actually sits with our teachers a lot more than I do. Unfortunately, I wish I could sit with them more, but she is actually working really hard to unpack those standards with our teachers and help them to make sure that the instruction that they're getting matches what our superintendent wants them to have. So, without further ado, Miss Bess.
Okay, so teachers have proficiency scales, and this is an example of a proficiency scale. And the proficiency scales, let me get in my place. are to guide instruction. That's their purpose. And they help teachers to determine what students know, what they can do, and what their next steps need to be. So our standard here, this is a 3rd grade standard. It's ask and answer questions to demonstrate understanding of a text, referring explicitly to the text as the basis for the answers. That's a lot. And in order for our students to master that, each box represents all the learning targets that they need to be able to do. Some of these learning targets are foundational skills. They're skills that they may have learned in a previous grade level. And some of those targets are new information that they have to learn and kind of combine their foundational skills along with their new information in order to get to mastery. So, how can I, do you have the, there we go. So our proficiency skills are broken down into I can statements. I can statements take those learning targets and put them into kid-friendly language. And you guys are going to see tonight when Ms. Mangum shares the report card how those I can statements are now what you guys are going to be looking at on the report card. Last year, it was the standards, and oftentimes the standards were even broken off, and so it was kind of confusing. So we're all going to be looking at these I can statements. So let's take a minute and look at the M. Let's look at the mastery. Look at the different things that need to be. We're using the same standard. So they've got to be able to provide evidence directly from the text to answer questions in order to show I can comprehend what the text says. That's one thing that encompasses a whole lot of stuff. The next thing, I can ask questions about the text that show I comprehend the text, what the text says. And the third thing, in order to show mastery for this standard, is I can complete all standard-related learning targets with text at grade level complexity. So knowing that, it's important for us to remember that when you are getting the Tuesday folders with your students' work, some assignments are going to be, you're going to have M's, you're going to have mastery, because they have mastered that particular standard that they're working on, or that learning target rather. On the report card, you might get the report card and there may not be M's. There may be progressing, P's, or there may even be B's, which is beginning. And the reason for that is because the student only mastered part of the learning target. They didn't master the entire standard. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you've gotten papers that you've gotten a lot of masteries and then you see a report card and you might not have those masteries, it's because part of the standards they have not mastered yet. And that's okay, because we're working on this all year long. Oh, sorry, I went the wrong way. So the indicators. By now you guys are probably familiar with the indicators. N is, so they take each of these boxes, they take that standard, they break it down into I can statements, and then each box is given an indicator. So N is not yet, B is beginning, P is progressing, and M is mastery. And so we may wonder exactly what does that really mean? And so we have some illustrations that will hopefully help answer those questions. So we've got to remember that we're learning with a growth mindset in mind, which kind of reminds me of steps. We're constantly going up and down those steps as we progress from one standard to the next. So N, look at the boy at the end. I still need help with this information. I'm not there yet. B is I still need help, but I'm beginning to understand. P, I understand I'm progressing, but I want to learn more. I need to know more in order to get to that mastery level. And mastery is, I'm the master. I'm the fine master. I can help others with this information. And so these scales are just like steps going up and down as students progress through their learning targets throughout the year. I really like to think about the bicycle, riding a bicycle, teaching a child how to ride a bicycle as a great analogy that, to me, really helps me understand how they progress through these different steps. So I don't understand yet. Here we have a little boy, he's got the helmet, he's got the bike, he wants to get on there, but he doesn't understand how. He needs a lot of help at this area, not yet. Beginning, the parent is riding along beside them, teaching them step by step how to ride the bicycle. They might have to learn how to ride the pedals, or how to brake, how to balance. All those little things that you have to do in order to ride a bicycle. I'm discovering how to do this. I can do this with help, but I need more practice. P is progressing. This is the stage where they can pretty much do it on their own, but they still need a little help. So here we have a parent that's holding on, and as they take off, they'll run a little ways, and then you pull your hands off, and the child can ride on the bike all by themselves, because that child just needs some confidence in a lot of areas. They may need to learn a couple of skills in order to get to that mastery level. They're progressing towards mastery, but they need a little bit more time. And then M, they're riding the bike all by themselves. They're a natural. I've accomplished my goal, I can do this on my own, and it feels awesome. And I can help others too. And so those are the indicators and the way the teachers work with the students, and also you guys will be seeing in the report card, and you'll be able to help your students progress from one level to the next.
Thank you, Ms. Beth. So that information is really going to be important as you are taking the next step that we're about to take, which is looking at the report card. So a lot of you are given sample report cards as you kind of came in. We're getting ready to take a look at that. This is not as great as I wanted it to be, because when you get your report card, first thing that you're going to notice is that your report card is going to be in color. Okay? The report card is going to be printed in color. I will say that that's a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of money. However, we have all decided that we are going to make sure that the report cards are printed in color, because we want to make sure that every parent understands where their child is. Because if it's not in color, it looks like the one that you have right now. It looks just like this one. Okay, so you're not able to really see mastery. You can see the shading there, but we think it's more beneficial to have this pretty report card over here. Okay, but it was a lot of money. I'm just gonna say that. They're about 40 cents a piece to print them out, but that's all right. We covered the cost for you, don't you worry. That's that good taxpayer money, don't you worry about that. We are gonna make sure you get this color report card. However, I did want to put that plug in there to let you know, these are really expensive. Please make sure you go through them with your children. This is something that you can still, I know we're not getting A's and B's and C's, but these are still things that you can put up on your refrigerator and reward them for those P's and those M's. That's great, y'all. That really is great. So, the one that is up here on the screen here, this is an actual student's report card. So we're going to look at it. Now, I've taken the time to white out who the child is, but this will be a 5th grade report card. Notice that as we're looking at it, we have, we'll go up here first. We have our enhancements right here at the top on the right. We have 4 of our enhancement classes that give grades. Okay, that will be where your grades are coming from there. 3 means they are doing a really great job. Okay, they've mastered everything. 2 doesn't mean that they're doing bad in that class. It means that they have mastered most of the material, okay? And again, we're not equating this, well, Ms. Van, are you saying that that's like a B or a C? We're not thinking about letter grades, okay? They've mastered most of the material that the teacher has given to them, okay? Also there, you'll be able to see your attendance up there at the top left. Here's where I want to look at it. Notice that for 5th grade, we have about 4 standards there for English, okay? When you're looking at this, you're going to look at me and say, Miss Mann, well, how do I know how my child's doing? I'm going to tell you how you know. You're going to look here and it says, we're going to think about I can statements. When you get this report card, you're going to think to yourself, I can. When your student is telling you, they're going to say, I can quote accurately from literature when explaining or drawing inferences from the text. That's what they can do, okay? Now we're going to look at where they are on that proficiency scale. P means that they are progressing towards mastery. So if you're looking at that P thinking, well, is that good or bad? That is great. They're progressing towards mastery. Every single one of these is not going to be green, guys. I'm just going to be very honest with you. And if you are one of those parents that say, well, I only allow straight A's in my household, that was my mama. I only allow straight A's. Look at this child's report card. I can tell you right now, this is going to be a very successful student, okay? Let's look at the one that they might be. You might say, well, is that orange or is that red? That doesn't look good. Let's look at it. It says here in English, I can use knowledge of language when reading, writing, and speaking. I can use knowledge of language when reading, writing, and speaking. There's a beginning. That lets you know as a parent, hey, this is something I need to work with my child on, okay? I need to, when I'm scheduling those conferences with the teacher, I can look at this and be specific about how can I help my child, or how can teacher, what does this mean and how can I help them with this specific standard? Now you don't have to guess about when you get a C going, or what C, what do they need help with? This is specific. It tells you the standard, and you can go to the teacher and say, okay, my child got a B in use of, they know knowledge of language when reading and writing and speaking. How can I help with that? Tell me how can you get to progressing, or how can you get to mastery? Get specific now, okay? Now looking down here for math, we also have one here where we're all green. That means that that child has mastered that particular standard. Not all of math, but that standard, okay? That standard, they're doing really well on. Now, for the first quarter, you may say, well, I see a lot of yellow there. That yellow, will that be able to change during the year? We want to think about a proficiency scale as a scale. I'm going to use myself for an example. When I jump on the scale, and I go to the bathroom sometimes, and I get on that scale at the doctor's office sometimes, it can go up, it can go down, it can stay where it is. With a proficiency scale, it's the exact same thing. So in quarter 2, if I'm at a P, and the teacher is going over more of this material with me, I could very well move to an M. That P does not have to stay there. This is a progression that we're talking about. So if we're starting at a B, that does not mean that your child's going to stay there, okay? We need to be working on those skills for the next report card, okay? Also notice that down here at the bottom, we do have comments that the teachers will be putting in. Those will be more so specific to your child, okay? You might see something like your child is a pleasure to teach. You might see something like your child needs to stay on task. Okay? That's just being really real, okay? You might see all of those statements in there, but that's where you have those talking points for these conferences and things like that. That's how you can know how the child is doing, but those are specific comments based on your student's conduct in the class. That's where they're putting that. So if you're thinking, well, is my child paying attention in class? Are they Well, that's where you'll be able to tell that. Some of them say things like, your child is a joy to teach. You might want to know more information about, I know my child's a joy, and sometimes they're a joy in my house, but sometimes they're bad. That's when you come in and you do a conference, you just want to know. Also notice that every single standard is not listed here. That is because we have missed so much school, okay? We've missed a lot of school. Every single standard is not going to be listed, okay? There are more standards than this, but for that first report card, math, science, English, and social studies, you're going to be looking to see 2 to 3 standards when you get your child's report card, 2 to 3 standards. By the end of the year, this will probably be about the equivalent of 2 pages, front and back. So it'll be a front page and back page. Gone are the days that we have 12 pages to sort through. It's a front page and a back page. Okay, but that will be towards the end of the year when we're able to get to all of the standards. Right now, again, for this first report card, you might see 2 to 3, no more than 3 standards in each of these levels for math, science, English, and social studies. Okay? Now, the one that you have a copy of, that one, again, is not in color, but that is an example that you can take home with you, that you have the proficiency scales right there, so that when you get the report card coming out, when the report card comes out Monday, next week, yeah, Monday, coming close. So you'll be able to sit down with your child and say, okay, so I see a P here. That's really good. But I also see a B. Let's talk about that. Okay, those are your talking points. But again, a B is not an F or a D. It just means that they are beginning that particular standard. I do want parents to leave here, because again, I'm not making you like standard-based grading. That's not what I'm doing. I am making sure that you understand that, again, we're not doing letter grades. And just because a child receives a B, that doesn't mean they're failing. We got a B, Lord, that's bad. No, that means we're just starting out in that standard. There's a lot more to go. And we're just beginning to grasp those concepts. Okay? Oh, sorry. Oh, no more there. So these are just future considerations. Right now, middle and high school, raise your hand if you have a high school student or a middle school student. Okay, great. A lot of you may not even see this when you get to the middle school. However, in my opinion, this is my opinion, my professional opinion, it's coming. Okay, especially, I know that I just left West Johnson High School. They are now starting the training and that framework to begin implementing this at the high school. We're even seeing that they've gone away with the Latin system where we're not doing valedictorian, salutatorian, and things, so that it starts to match these particular things here. So that's just something to keep in mind. Is it there yet? No. However, in my professional opinion, and I sit real close with the superintendent sometimes. I don't sit close to that close, but I'm just saying, I know that it is coming. That is the goal here. The decision for whether standards-based grading will continue at the middle and high school is yet to be made, and there are some sites that are doing piloting this, which is kind of like our Innovation Academy, 9th grade academy at Clayton High School. So some high schools are starting to pick it up.
So we have some examples to actually show you, because with the standard-based grading, our teaching looks different. And so the first thing we want to show you is Miss Langdon's class. This is actually this year where she was given a learner profile. All of our teachers are given learner profiles.
Our teachers are offering learners the opportunity to share how they prefer to engage with learning targets, how they want to express their learning, as well as share what learning environments allow them to be the most successful.
The learner profile was ask their name and their what job they would like to do when they grow up, and also ask them about classroom atmosphere. They like a quiet or busy classroom. It also asks about their seating preference, if they like a comfy pillow, sit at a desk, work on the floor. We also ask things about what their interests were, if they like computers, if they like dance, if they like sports. So they got to give a lot of feedback to us on what they like.
Learner profiles can be implemented with all students, even in the primary grades who can't yet read well.
We like to say that first grade can do learner profiles. We actually turned it into a center using the Chromebooks and an adult to help read the questions. They were able to make their own choices. Some of them were already readers, so they could go ahead. Some of them were not reading yet, and they could see the pictures and be able to make their own decisions. I like using that to help me learn about the children.
When we allow even our youngest students to have a voice in how they engage in the learning process and use this knowledge to ensure we meet their needs, we increase each student's chance for success in the classroom.
So I love how it says when we give children an opportunity to have a voice in their learning in the classroom, how we raise their success. And that's what we're all about, right? Making each child be successful and have their optimal growth for them. And so the next video is actually a third grade class from last year, but many of our teachers are doing pathways and different quests, playlists, different instructional strategies to provide that learning target, taking that learning target and giving students many different choices in how they learn that learning target. And so this is a short video of this third grade class.
What do you think about it? I think it's really cool, like, what we get to do is, like, the conference, and then the pathways and the, like, you get to do the comments and choose what you want to do.
Looks different from the way when we were in school, right? Students they're able to do things the way they want to do it with the teacher's guidance. And that just highly motivates kids. And it also, they're constantly reflecting on themselves as learners, which that is going to help them for the rest of their learning career. and on. So, and the teachers are constantly going one-on-one, conferencing with the students and seeing where they are and what skills need to be done to get them to the next step.
So before we dismiss, the last thing that we're going to talk about here is student-led conferences. These are the dates, if you're not aware of when your student-led conference is. Student-led conferences are when you're allowed to come into the classroom and your student is going to have a conference with you. So they're going to tell you how they're doing in class. They're going to also come to you and tell you, okay, these are the centers that we're able to do. In this center, I learned how to do X, Y, and Z. So that's going to be upcoming for a lot of you. So 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade, I have those dates available and listed. Kindergarten and 2nd grade are coming very soon. Okay, so those dates have not been put out yet. However, I do want to say that student-led conferences will not be replacing parent-teacher conferences. So, that is one thing that we have discussed as a school. I do still strongly believe in that face-to-face with a teacher. I do believe in that. So I do believe there are things that you can ask the teacher and can address with the teacher that your child might not be able to tell you about when they come home. Because I'm sure when you get them and you say, how was your day? They're like, good. What'd you do today? Stuff. What'd you do? Nothing. You know, so you're getting that when you get home. So when you're able to have that teacher conference, you can say, well, hey, how is my child doing with these things? Or I saw that my student had a B and they're struggling in math. How can I help my child do that? Because when you ask them, well, how can I help you with your work? They're like, nothing. So you need to be able to know that. So it is not taking the place, student-led conferences aren't taking the place of a parent-teacher conference, which is why this night is available for you. So tonight, after you leave here, we're going to ask you to visit your child's classrooms. You're going to go there with the intention of knowing that I want to sign up for a conference, or you just want to see their classroom and see what the students, because I'm sure your child will take you around to different things that they're doing. So it'll be a fun night for them because they can show you what they're doing in their classroom. But remember, we're wanting you to sign up for a conference with your teacher, so that way you know exactly what you can do to help support your child. And number two, how you can build that relationship with that teacher so that when you have questions, you know exactly where to go. So at this time, we have concluded our session. However, if you do have questions that you would like to put down, there's paper in the middle of the table that you can write your question down, and the answers will be in my next newsletter. You may go to your students' classroom and have a wonderful night. Thank you so